Welcome to Team Futurism. My name is Peter Clarke, and I'm here with the one and only Devin Carson. How you doing, Devin?
Hola, how you doing, Pete?
Man, we just got off like an epic debate about like landlord-tenant shit, which I kind of want to bring. I want to bring that back around because that was a lot of fun. We could, man, I got all hyped. You got all hyped. I'm also very caffeinated. So yeah, it could be fun, but we'll work our way up there. I want to start someplace not that intense. Let's start with AI models. Let's talk about AI models. I'm seeing a lot of content just on Twitter and on YouTube, etc., of a lot of people talking about this fact that like AI very obviously is coming for models. And I think that this is resonant with a lot of people, not because a lot of people work as fashion models, but because we all use AI tools and it's so easy to just be like, make a hot girl in a dress. You know what I mean? And it's like, totally. Bam, it's like, okay, so we all see how this is taking jobs. It's not like it's a mystery to anybody. So here's just kind of like one interesting article that I will throw up on the screen here.
I love the clip you sent me. I was so charmed by the idea that you're listening to like a hot girl AI influencer.
Oh, which clip was that? Yeah, like I could pull it up. It was okay. No, this is.
She looked like she was like a makeup influencer or something. Just so pretty and so well presented, and like. And just talking about AI and modeling makes sense. She was like, I think, a fashion influencer, but I was just very charmed by like that from you is like a bunch of like
where was the line
salty like political hacks, it's like with like weird crow accents and shit.
Hey, you know what's funny? That is a Matt Iglesias rip, by the way. Unfair. Yeah. But do you know who this is? I actually, what's funny? I actually have no idea who this girl is. She's talking about AI fashion models.
No,
this is like an example. I have no idea who this is, but I followed this channel like a long time ago because it is a channel by the Daily Wire, which I'm not a fan of, but they do such great content. I'd like followed it. And it was by this girl like Brett Cooper, used to be the host. And didn't agree with her like cringe right-wing takes, but she was really good at what she did. And, I appreciated what she's putting out there sometimes. Every now and then it'd be like kind of entertaining. And they had like a massive falling out apparently. And so I guess I still subscribe to the channel, and they have a new host now, but they kept the channel name, the comment section. Kind of strange, but there's like this underbelly of drama here. And I have no idea who this is, Devin. So
let me tell you.
This popped up on my feed. So yeah.
Before you cue this up, she made this point that I actually wrote down in my show notes for the day. Nice. It really does look like a like serial killer's like yarn diagram when I listen to stuff. But she said something that was I thought just one of the most beautiful, intuitive things about AI that I've heard someone say. Maybe at all or recently. She says, governments are about protecting the rights of people. We got to focus on that, and like not protecting the rights of kind of anything else, like kind of just people, tangentially animals because we like them, but like protecting the rights of companies to make things. That's to me, I mean, I know that we're falling into the socialist, communist, anarcho syndicalist rabbit hole here, but yeah, wild conceptual framework. Governments should really be focused on protecting people and people's rights, which out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah, I thought that was a good point too. Like her video did not go in depth on this topic at all, but I did kind of appreciate her takes. They were like very, baseline kind of generic takes, but she represents the kind of like not MAGA wing necessarily, but right wing, political spectrum take. And even hearing her say like, oh my God, like this is kind of intense, right? We should like regulate some of this. It was kind of interesting to hear her say that. So I'm not going to play this clip, but yeah, feel free to check it out. I did want to talk about this article. This news from H&M is actually what sparked a lot of this conversation. Okay. I know that like also Vogue now use an AI model in their magazine and a couple of other things, but this H&M article is kind of interesting because it talks about how H&M now is having digital clones, like digital twins sometimes they're called, so that they will have like a real model, but they will kind of like purchase the rights to use that model in other ads, that sort of a thing. And so we've been talking about this in the context of movies, like Brad Pitt, they'll just like clone him, right? And then use him in all their other properties, even long after he's dead, and just like pay his estate type of thing. Yeah. Apparently this is already happening for fashion models. And I mean, H&M is throwing money into this. So this is happening. Like this is the future right now. Which I think fascinating. Yeah.
I think I have kind of a nuanced take on this, which is that like, haven't we already had a real serious problem with representation in modeling for basically the entire time that it's been an industry? I mean, potentially maybe back in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, when like more Rubenesque women like Marilyn Monroe were, you know, the women that were, you know, idolized and stuff. Maybe that was a more realistic body image. But ever since then, I mean, the main complaint, and it's a great fucking argument, and all the waves of feminism, I think, can fall in line on this one, that like representation of the female body in modeling is pretty fucked and is not something that's healthy. You as a daughter, I'm sure if you're not thinking about it now, I'm sure it'll be something that will come into your consciousness soon enough, where it's like, damn, like what shape of girls am I letting this little girl attach her, you know, third person mental image of herself to as she's developing it, you know? And it's like, having AI in modeling, it feels to me like the same thing as having like a grocery store checker, where I'm like, maybe that's not really a job that people needed to do if we can't be responsible with it. You know what I mean? And like, we can't show realistic people in the clothing that they're trying to sell. The thing that sucks about it is that AI is going to do the same thing. And the article that girl was referencing, the spread that she was referencing, the girl did look kind of blown out in like a filtered kind of Disney kind of manipulated way, that to me, I'm like, damn, dude, like, come on, man, like somebody steer the ship back towards helping young women and women generally have positive self-image. Like, how is that not a fucking priority in our society? I get that there's a profit motive to like continually you know, berating women with the sense that they're inadequate in one way or another because it keeps them buying shit. But I'm like, dude, we like actually are coming to a point in human society where we need these women to be really kind of like right here with us in every different way. And that means we've got to stop fucking propagandizing their bodies.
Well, I mean, like, I think that it's interesting what H&M is doing versus what Vogue is doing. Apparently, if I understand this, Vogue, I think, just used like an AI model, just like created an AI model, whereas H&M is paying real models. And I think that there is a difference here. Like, this is kind of interesting. Like, this model describes her replica as like me, but without the jet lag. So you could see how kind of in a way, real models might actually kind of like this. I mean, I remember in that movie, The Triangle of Sadness. Did you ever see that? Great movie. But there were two models, one male, one female. And the female model made way more money than the male model. And so the male model was kind of like irritated by this in their like relationship dynamic. They were dating. But the female model said, hey, like, what are you going to be doing when you're 40? Sure. He was like, working a job. And she's like, I'm not going to have a job. Like, I'm going to age out of this in like a year. So I need to make more money than you now because I'm not going to be able to keep doing this. So now, I mean, like, that was the past. The future is that girl in that movie who incidentally died. This like really beautiful girl like died right after that was filmed, which is sad. But anyway, now, so she can't take advantage of it. Sorry, I got dark. But like other models in her position will be able to just like market their image or sell their image, their likeness, so that she can be 40 years old and still like doing it. I don't know. All of this is going to be like so topsy-turvy.
It's such a fucking bait and switch by the ruling class yet again, Peter. As I fight for the working man. That means how many fucking models don't get paid? That this is the Willy Wonka Oompa Loompa conversation all over again, dude. They paid one little person and duplicated it, and it took fucking like 150 little people out of jobs. Same shit here, man. They're gonna pay this girl fucking some amount of money that at 21 she's gonna think, wow, and then she's gonna see her face on fucking everything forever. and she's gonna, and when that money is gone, every time she sees her face on an H&M sneaker sole, she's gonna be like, damn, I got fucked, man.
Hey man, don't worry. I have another level of complexity to add to this conversation. So, okay, let's talk about Sydney Sweeney.
Sure.
Okay, so this is actually where human models absolutely still are going to win, and like real human models, like at their current age, doing real shit, because no AI model.
I love that the first principle of your argument is like, hey man, there are chicks that are so hot.
That's actually not my argument. That's actually not it. She regardless of exactly how hot she is culturally relevant, right? She has cultural cachet, and she's willing to spend that cultural relevancy on an ad that obviously is spicy and is going to get people talking. If this were an AI model, it would have not generated half the controversy, and the controversy would have very quickly pivoted to another direction. So by using real humans, not even like, let's say not even models, but like any real human is going to hit people in a different way and spark a different type of conversation than if you were using generic AI generated model. You know what I mean? And I think that like, this is where humanity is going to thrive, is like, we care about each other and what we do and how we act. We don't care about how, you know, just like pixels on a screen that look like a model act.
I feel like that could be, I feel like that to me feels like a bit of a spin up of a new angle to the AI quandary that I think any of us who think about it regularly think about a lot, which is kind of the loss of meaning in entertainment. I think that is kind of like a central concern for almost everybody that thinks about it with any degree of regularity. And I think you're right that, I mean, I always think about narrative and how the human experience is so shaped by narrative, and it's something that's so embedded in every single stitch of our kind of collective fabric of our everyday life. And I do think that there is this innate and also learned and external desire to know what's going on with people that you're looking at, that there is something going on there, right? It's like, I think you're right, because you look at an AI model and you know intuitively and in a learned fashion that there is no life there, that there is no manifestation of narrative, that there is potential for there to be entertainment and storytelling and the maybe like simulacra of narrative, but is the actual what is it, the antecedent, the kind of the seed of the narrative, which is the manifest human experience. I love that.
Okay, so you mentioned regulation a little bit earlier. Would you, at this moment, regulate how AI models are used? I mean, I don't even know, because this is going to be my next talking point or next conversation piece. But when everybody's jobs or like a large swath of the population's jobs are going to go away, I don't know if this is even going to like matter in the grand scheme in terms of like the job market. Yeah. And also, I just don't know if there's a great way to go about this. I don't like, literally, I don't know. I mean, I could see having, like, for example, if you use an AI generated image, you have to like tag it as such, maybe. I don't know. Like, what, I don't know. What would you do?
The horrible desperation of the position that we're in is that we're in the infancy of a Trump presidency as we're contemplating these fucking existential questions.
Yes. Oh, like, that is exactly what I think about all the time, Devin. Why now?
You're like, should
why now?
And I'm like, well, like the royal they, you know, the ambiguous, amorphous they that we all imagine as like whatever government is. Like, yes, government should be more socialist and more leaning towards regulating the shit out of things that corporations are doing and things that have profit motives that are antithetical to the rights of the human people in the human population. Does that make any sense to anybody else? Is that really this radical leftist idea?
I mean, I'm going to push back just in the sense that we see countries doing that.
Yeah.
Europe, all of Europe, right? Sure. And guess how many AI companies they have over in Europe? Like none, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so they've regulated it out of existence.
Yeah, but
so which means, and they're also like, because of the US like the trade policies, they're butting up with China. So they're just going to be like doing whatever China's doing, even like vicariously, even if they don't mean to. They're absolutely propping up China's agenda.
But you can drink the tap water, and there's no funky bullshit in the food. they've got their fucking priorities straight, man.
I actually watched a video on tap water. We have some of the best tap water in the entire world. Our tap water is lit.
Oh no.
Believe it or not.
We're going to put a pin in that, because I'll start yelling about tap water, and I don't want to do that today.
let's put a pin on it, because I want to talk about that. But yeah, not today. It's going to interrupt our happy job apocalypse conversation.
Too inflamed. I think that they should, Pete. I do think that this government should be a little less old people about all of this. Like, we just need people in their
Devin, this is actually you nailed it. What kind of like my thought here is that, like, yes, I kind of want regulation too. I don't trust these old fuddy-duddies to at all have the correct opinion about it. No. I don't trust them. And so that's why I'm kind of like, let the free market reign, because the people in power, I don't trust them, let alone the Trump administration, who whether or not they're old, like everybody else is ancient. I don't trust them.
Why does nothing work in an intuitive way, the way that you would hope it would? Why is there no cohort in the Senate or in the House of young people? Why do we not have a focus on, like, if we're so obsessed with like with compartmentalizing these generational groups, why don't we have representation for them in Congress? Hello? Hi, is anyone out there? I'm just over here. I'm not trying to redesign the fucking democracy. I mean, it makes so much sense to me, and it's so frustrating for anybody that's under 75 to watch all of our priorities get absolutely boomer death cult nuked. Man, I'm this close to starting a Tim Dillon like rant show with how much impotent rage I have towards these fucking old people, man.
The only thing that I have to say in response that makes me nervous about the counterpoint is Stephen Miller, which is, he's maybe like the biggest devil in the government right now, and he is young. So I don't know. Be careful what you wish for is also at the back of my mind. You know what I mean? I want to talk about this though, that I have pulled up on my screen here. Sorry, it's Twitter, it's kind of small, but okay. So Microsoft just dropped a study showing 40 jobs most at risk by AI and the most secure. So, okay, let's take a look at these. Okay, these are the most at risk jobs. Let me run down, and it does show like employment numbers, like how many people work in these fields. So some of these fields like nobody works in, like mathematicians, like 2,000 people work in that field or whatever. And this is geographers, 1,000 people work here. So maybe we'll ignore some of those jobs, but for some of the ones where people actually work, interpreters and translators. I actually work with a bunch of interpreters for my job right now. 51,000 people work in this field, and they're like at the top of the list. And it's like, yeah, like when I have to reach out to the companies I work with who do interpreting for us, it's like emails back and forth. You had to do payroll shit. It's like it's like 10 emails just to agree to what is the terms of what we're it's like. I just want to go on ChatGPT and do this myself. You know what I mean? Or Google Translate, you know? So, okay, they're gone. Another big one here is passenger, one down. Sales representatives of services. So sales reps, Andrew Yang used to talk all about that. That's like over 100,000 people. These look low. I bet more people than this work in these fields.
I could do without. We could lose the sales guy population in this country,
dude. Most of the jobs on this list, I could get rid of these people.
Pretty much all of them.
Telemarketers, same-ish industry, they're gone. Let's see, customer service representatives. Okay, I think I just did that. Yeah, so those are all pretty related. Here's another one. Hosts and hostesses. I don't know. That one I struggle with. I actually don't know if hosts are going to go away. That seems like we're actually like interfacing with a human there. What do you think about that one?
I think that a lot of the human jobs that we take for granted now, like because our society is so corporatized, the only time you're going to see them is in like a fetishy way at like a place where it's like a flex. So like probably fine dining never will be like a robot host, but like where's another place that you get like Black Bear Diner? or like, or fucking
It's
like
actually an interesting
IHOP
one
or something like that.
This isn't entirely related, but just down the street from me at my local co-op, which you also know and love, they have like a sandwich market or sandwich counter, right, where they make you like fancy food. And they just yesterday put in a little system where you don't call the worker over to like have them take your order, where you just kind of like walk right up and talk to a person. They have like now 2 little screens where you can just like punch it in yourself. And both of the screens actually incidentally were down. So I had to wait for 10 minutes for somebody to help me with it. So it actually not amazing, but I could see that as just like making the workers' lives better and easier, maybe keeping the same number of employees, but it also like gave me the sense that we're just priming this or setting the groundwork for like the robots to be back there too, making the sandwiches at some level. You know what I mean?
We're gonna have to have something like to the effect that we had in COVID, where it's like, what do they call the jobs? The necessary jobs. What were they called? It was something.
What was that term?
It was something so like hyperbolic. It was like
wow, why am I blanking on it too? That's hilarious. It was
But we're gonna have to have some term for that, for jobs that like translator, where it's like either we're gonna have to pay everybody to do whatever the fuck they want, or at some level we're gonna have to say, well, yeah, everybody does need to suffer an additional layer of administrative bullshit so that these 50,000 people don't immediately not have a way to feed their families. Translators.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but in lieu of legislation to that effect, a year and a half from now, man, you're using ChatGPT.
100%. Yeah. This resonates for me because technical writers is on here. I used to kind of sort of work in that field. Also editors. I have been an editor for my day job before. Those are gone. Right now, like I work with like a ton of web developers for my current job. I'm not a web developer, but I work with them and they're gone. Management analysts. That's kind of like more me. That's over. Yeah, they're gone. I mean, so like here's models. We were just talking about them. And then market research analysts, also kind of me. Yeah, it is kind of like shit we would expect, but all of these right now, I'm looking at this too, being like, these are going to go away, or at least radically shift in the number of people in these fields and what they do day to day. My job personally, I would love to automate most of not only what I do, but what the people around me do to like increase efficiency, and everything that like we have already AI wise could do that. I feel like deeply. So, but then that means that my team shrinks. I may not need to be, you know what I mean? So like I see this around me on a day-to-day basis.
It's going to be, I mean, we're going to have to either draw a line in the sand where we protect a certain class of jobs or a certain level of society or something like that from collapse, or we're just really going to have to think about paying people to be alive like tomorrow, within the Trump presidency. Although I will say this, I hate to give any fucking credit to that absolute psycho, man, but he really wasn't tight-fisted with the money during COVID. Afterwards they definitely got into some like clawing it back where they could, and they may have been a little too loose with the money, maybe let it flow a little too freely. But last time there was an economic disaster, old Daddy Trump gave us all our allowance to give to Daddy Bezos. Like so many people did get paid to stay alive. So at least at a bare ass minimum, there's some precedent for it.
100%. I think that actually was good for society, that we do have some precedent that everyone's familiar with, and everyone kind of like misses their little checks coming in. But let's quickly take a look at some of the jobs that are not going away. This is the top 40 for Microsoft.
Tell me mine's on there.
Okay, I see roofers here, and a lot of people work in that field.
I love that they go right to roofers. They're like, Dude, we
can't. My eye just went to it.
They're like, we can't get robots to smoke crack and drive Chevy trucks, dude. It'll never happen.
You know what I actually kind of noticed though about these jobs that are not going away?
Yeah.
Very often they're quite specific jobs, whereas the descriptions of the jobs on the other sheet, they were more just kind of like bullshit email jobs where the title is just super mega vague, like research analyst, you know what I mean? Which could mean almost anything. Whereas tire repairers and changers, that is very specific. Apparently this must be like, I don't know, Jiffy Lube, all these people changing tires at Jiffy Lube, right? Like that job's not going away.
That robot would be able to do like really well. Like they're all I'm thinking about, like, I have a buddy that owns an auto shop, and I'm thinking,
me too, Devin.
I'm like all of the
now that you mention it,
like all the pieces are there. It barely needs a person to begin with. Like, who the fuck are making it? Is this a BuzzFeed list?
Let me throw a couple more lists, or a couple of these more at you. I'll just read down the list, a couple of them. Okay, so phlebotomists. I know a friend who just got that job, so that's taking blood at the hospital for you. Nursing assistants. Probably some of these things like job or robots even could take when the robots come in here. So they're thinking AI, not necessarily robots, which is also an interesting level that's maybe missing from this sheet. If we were to look at the optimist list about what optimist is going to be taken, maybe phlebotomists are on that list. Who knows? Also, helpers, painters, plasterers, they have that as one. Embalmers. So good luck if you're an embalmer. You got to keep your job. Plant and systems operators. That makes sense, I think. Oral surgeons, keeping your job. Auto glass installers and repairers. Seems funny, but okay. Ship engineers, prosthodontists, highway maintenance workers. See how specific these are?
Like guys that are like evangelical about braces.
yeah. Is that what that is?
That's a real deep cuts linguistic joke for the heads out there.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Another really big one-ish is industrial truck and tractor operators. I think
anything that requires an extreme ability, like a micro engineering degree. I think about
micro engineering, man,
is like that is like, as a Finnish carpenter, handy person, art installer, framer, all these different things that I do that are carpentry adjacent, they're all the exact same thing. It's all just little mini engineering exercises without a degree. And like the degree is your experience. Eventually you see how materials move against each other enough that it's almost like a qualia thing sometimes, where less than it is like or more than it is like a quantitative measuring. It's like you're doing a lot of feeling and kind of intuitive things that are scaffolded by your knowledge of safety and materials. And like, man, that is the reason that I do it is because it's so similar to music. It's such a similar web of complexity where I'm like, man, you could get a robot to do this, but it would be really fucking hard. It's hard for humans to do this stuff. You know, this isn't like a autopilot human job. This is a job that, like, this is a hard fucking job, man. But we'll see, man. That 2027, our most viral episode of all time. By the way, Peter, let me give you some flowers while we're on the pod, while we're on live. I think I am now like the Andy Richter to your Conan, because your star has risen so far above the horizon. How many views is your big interview at, Pete? Tell the people.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's with my buddy Arun, and we played a clip of Peter Zion, and we had some commentary about it. And it's 17,000, 17,000. But now I'm kind of like, dude, we could do so much better than that. I see so many like shittier videos with worse commentary getting way more. So we can do better, man.
I fucking love that moxie, Pete. Yeah, dude. Congrats, man. I think I'm until I've done something more in society, I think I'm co-host now. Sidekick rather.
Well, I want to do play one more note about the job apocalypse, and then I want to move on to one last topic today. So this was interesting to me, because you do see these people who know what they're talking about who take this is similar to Peter Zion, actually, like why the jobs aren't going to go away, sort of thing. So let's listen to this is Eric Schmidt, right? The former CEO of Google. Is that true? Why am I? Or is it Microsoft? I should know this. Wait, no. Oh shit. Maybe I'm confusing my people. Anyway, this guy who's very smart. I guess it is Eric Schmidt. I think he looks weird. I guess he's old. Anyway, so let's listen to this commentary, and then yeah, I'll have some thoughts.
Damn, Eric Schmidt caught a stray off Pete today, man.
In the shorter term, 5 or 10 years, I'm going to argue that this is positive for jobs in the following way. If you look at the history of automation and economic growth, automation starts with the lowest status and most dangerous jobs, and then works up the chain. So if you think about assembly lines in cars and furnaces and all these sort of very, very dangerous jobs that our forefathers did, they don't do them anymore. They're done by robotic solutions of one another, and typically not a humanoid robot, but an arm. What happens to the people? Well, it turns out that the person who was working with the welder, who's now operating the arm, has a higher wage, and the company has higher profits because it's producing more widgets. Mm-hmm. So the company makes more money and the person makes more money. In the vision that we're talking about, every single person will have a computer assistant that's very intelligent that helps them perform. You take a person of normal intelligence or knowledge and you add a sort of accelerant, they can get a higher paying job. So you sit there and you go, well, why are there more jobs? There should be less jobs. That's not how economics works. Economics expands because the opportunities expands, profits expands, wealth expands, and so forth. There's plenty of dislocation, but in aggregate, are there more people employed or fewer? The answer is more people with higher paying jobs after an awful lot of people screaming at each other.
Why does that sound so intuitively ridiculous to me? It sounds like a repackaging of the thoroughly discredited idea of trickle-down economics.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually agree, Devin, because this is something that people have been debunking in a sense for a long time, in that this exact argument that he gives we all kind of like agree that we live in a different world now. This is not like the Industrial Revolution 2.0. This is something fundamentally different.
Yeah.
I think that like what's interesting is, one, he is saying it, and he's someone who, like, if anybody understands AI and the implications, it's going to be this guy. So there's that. So a lot of us are just like dummies like us, just like doing social commentary, and you know what I mean? We're not like actually doing the work. So that's interesting. But two, the other interesting point is he's got to absolutely be right in some sectors and absolutely wrong in others.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like editors and technical writers, why in the world would a company ever hire them? And then those people that was their life and their passion. This is kind of me, so it's personal.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we going to do? Like, there's no pivot. We're just like, all of a sudden I'm making more money at a different job. And like that whole sector is disrupted. So I guess he mentioned this like disruption or whatever. So like, but I don't know, man. Like, and how do you know intuitively at all, even in his position, that form of disruption is going to be more or less than the form of disruption where people do pivot to a better job, right?
Let me also just draw a little scrutiny to his entire his approach is so filtered through the kind of hazy glass of wealth, and you can really it's wealthy people love to talk about broader implications, the aggregate, the overall way that a system equalizes over time, because they're very divorced from the fucking brutalist human reality of the people who work often for them, not Google, because in a certain sense, like, Google is in a different echelon of society where it's not probably actually employing that many worker bees, in a lot of ways. But like, I think wealthy people love to pontificate about the broader implications of things. while simultaneously just having an absolute blind eye turned towards like the incidental information, the anecdotal information, the person that they're talking about, and how that disrupts that person's life. And that is what march toward a more progressive society looks like, is where we are not only accounting for the aggregate solution, we are also doing our best to now come up with individualistic solutions for people's disenfranchisement of equity, let's say, in the society, because they're at the bottom rung through sometimes no fault of their own.
I mean, I do disagree with that just slightly, in that what he's doing isn't necessarily talking as a rich person, but talking as someone who is confidently referencing the past and bringing it towards the present. Because everybody, rich and poor, talks about how like, oh, thank God we don't have elevator operators anymore. Can you imagine what a nightmare one that job would be, and how like annoying it would be to talk to an elevator operator? So I think that we all actually do that. He is just doing that from the place of forgetting that, or maybe understanding differently, but like I would say forgetting that AI might be very well fundamentally different here. So
truly. And I think that I don't know, you and I are so submerged in this informational field, on a weekly basis, and like I just don't know how you could be digesting the information that's coming at all of us and thinking that this is the Industrial Revolution 2.0, or this is the record to the tape, or this is the tape to the CD. It's like, no, man. Like, this is going to have a set of unfolding implications that are going to have knock-on effects that are going to make your fucking socks roll up and down, man.
I mean, a little bit of the elephant in the room too is we just saw that report about the job numbers. Did you see this? How the job numbers were corrected in that they were like way overblown for the past 2 months, and then we're like just not getting new jobs effectively. And Trump was so upset about it that he's going to fire that person who does the statistics for that, which is one, like, so bad for a country. No one is ever going to trust our job numbers ever again. I'm not going to, certainly not as long as Trump's in office. They're just going to be completely like, they're going to be ass kissing Trump numbers. So, but yeah, at a moment where we should be growing the economy, is shrinking. And that's, I know largely that's because of tariffs, but like, it's also, I'm sure, because of AI, and it's because of this precedent that Elon Musk set, that you can walk into Twitter, fire 75% of the staff, and the company keeps running, which if you're a CEO, that's fucking amazing news, because I'm sure any given company can follow that playbook. And he's, again, set that precedent. So there you go, man. I don't know, like,
and not only that, people, we live in a fucking corporatocracy that actively disincentivizes small independent business ownership in a country that says that it's bread and butter, that the reason that it exists, that the freedom that the economic model of this country is predicated on is small fucking mom and pop businesses. And it is almost impossible to do that now, man. It's like, not actually impossible, but the failure rate, the lack of subsidy, the amount of money that goes into subsidizing corporate interests, regardless of the product or type or value to society. I mean, this should be a country that's heavily subsidizing independent business ownership as a way to hedge against the oncoming onslaught of jobs that don't matter to people being erased.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. This is something that Andrew Yang used to talk about all the time, is that it's so much easier to start a Main Street business in Canada compared to America. And like, why in the world is that the case? Well, it's our own fault. We did it to ourselves. So we can fix that. If we wanted to, we could fix it. I have one more topic I want to throw at you, Devin. This one is
plane, baby.
Is relevant to our initial unaired conversation about the housing market in the Bay Area. Although we don't have to make it too spicy if we don't want to, but I'm very curious about your thoughts here. So this is Tyler Cowen.
Yes.
Talking about what he would do with the Bay Area housing market. I think this is queued up to the right spot. There's a chance I might have to tweak it, but bear with me, folks. This is on the Josh Zepps podcast. Josh Zepps apparently like traveled around the world interviewing people. Kind of a good idea. But let's listen to this.
I listened to a bunch of the interview, but it's like fortuitously possibly I missed the part that you're going to play now, but I kind of like this guy. I don't know what his deal is. I've never heard of him before, but he had this very kind of like 65-year-old dude perspective that I just find I find wise about that generation of people when they are as such, where he was like, well, you got to kind of look at the, the way that it's going to even out over time, and he just kind of, he was taking the long tack on everything and very kind of systematically. And I was like, all right, cool. And he was able to reference a lot of his assertions with data, which is in today's infotainment era is always a bit delightful when somebody's got a couple of fucking sources to reference potentially. I liked his kind of affect. Next thing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tyler Cowen. I think that even when he gives a take that I totally disagree with, he is one of these rare characters who can give a take on anything, and it's like bizarrely well informed.
Yeah, sense I got. It was a very rangy conversation, this one.
He is a professor at George Mason University, and on Team Futurism, we have actually had his associate on, who's also a professor there, Brian Kaplan. If you have not seen that, check out our Brian Kaplan interview, which means that we're a person away from interviewing Tyler Cowen. So Tyler, come on the show to Team Futurism next. I'll very happily interview you. Well, hopefully my internet's doing okay. I'm gonna play this clip and then we'll comment. So here we go.
There's a lot of talk about the abundance agenda on the left at the moment, the YIMBYism and so on.
Yes, it was great.
Why is this hard to scale politically, or is it?
We've seen YIMBY-related reforms, I think, in about 20 American states and cities. So it's not obviously hard to scale. It's hard to do as much of it as you should. So for instance, I think they should take Oakland next to San Francisco and just open it up, fair game. Like anyone can do whatever, build whatever they want in Oakland. No restriction. I don't think we should do that with central San Francisco, which has some kind of delicate balance, historic homes. It ought to look a certain way. But Oakland, it doesn't attract any tourists. So Oakland should look like Dubai.
They're flying into Oakland Airport because it's cheaper than SFO.
But they're not going to stay in Oakland to see Oakland. You're not ruining anything. So Oakland should look like Dubai. That's a core view I hold. We're not doing it. We've done some very good YIMBY in California. We'll probably do more. But we need to make Oakland look like Dubai. And that in turn will help a lot with the budget because it's a higher rate of growth.
Right. Damn. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how racist it sounds. And then I'm like, it might actually also be hella racist.
Yeah,
like, no, I know that. I knew that.
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Like, no, I knew that would be your reaction. I don't think that he's. I don't think it's racist in the sense that he's like crafting a manifesto to like exterminate, Black people or something ridiculous. I think that it's racist in the way where it's just kind of like, Oakland is like is a cultural landmark for a lot of people that this guy probably doesn't hang out with, and it just is an actual historically significant and important place. And he on the principle of his argument of like open it up and let anybody do what they want. God damn it, that's complicated, man. Because as soon as you do that, it really skews toward it would just become a Lafayette or another enclave of wealth. He wants
Dubai. And like, actually people to his credit too, I think he probably holds the same view. People say all the time that San Jose and Silicon Valley, which is not Oakland culturally, it's completely different thing. Silicon Valley is like all white people, and Indians and Asians. People have always said San Jose and Silicon Valley should look like Manhattan, and it's zoning laws that make it so that it's $1 million for like a 1-bedroom house there, which is fucking insane. So I think that he said Oakland. I bet that in a different mood he might have said Silicon Valley or San Jose, because he's the type of person who makes that same argument. So
the idea of open it up and build whatever you want is really challenging because it's less profitable to build. It's less Straight up, it's less profitable to build habitations for working class people than it is for wealthy people. And there has to be some incentive structure built into that type of legislation that makes it incumbent upon a developer to have sometimes a loss leader of building something that is accessible for working class people, because, you know, as much as it's wonderful to have a city of wealthy people running around, there's still a bunch of fucking regular ass things that need to happen, you know, and not everybody is a skilled technician or has a niche job. You know, it's like you do actually have a societal responsibility to take care of the people who are just doing normal stuff and living.
So I mean, like, but like there is, I get the impetus, but like there are a lot of studies about this. And so if you build luxury housing today, in 10 years is non-luxury housing, and in 20 years it's market rate. And then 30 years is below market rate, right? So this has actually been like carefully studied. So, but if you build nothing, you don't get affordable housing ever. So if you just like, you're waiting for like everybody to build affordable housing doesn't get built. But if you build luxury or literally anything, give it enough time, and then all of a sudden you have an abundance of market rate and below market rate housing. And also, like, California has so drastically failed in this because it is like 4 times the cost to build affordable housing in California than it is to build affordable housing in Texas. So even though like we're so precious about safeguarding our you know, the ability to build affordable housing because of all the restraints, because we want to restrain rich people, the result of that like well-meaning thing has made it so that there's less below market housing. So I don't know. I actually totally disagree with that.
It's such a complex system though, man, because you can't like making it cheaper to build stuff means people get hurt. Just straight up, like there's a human cost. There is no reality in which things get built faster or cheaper where it doesn't expose the people who are building that stuff or the people around them to more danger. And the way that this system is built in California, I'm a contractor here. Like, it is annoying and it is a lot of red tape, and almost to a single granular point, everything that's in those codes and regulations is made to keep people safe. And
well, not necessarily at all, just in the sense that Sacramento, but Sacramento,
besides where you can build what, those are the only codes.
Yeah, so like one of the codes you're protecting is single family zoning, right? And that, like, everyone knows that is bad for poor people.
Zoning laws
are created for rich people.
Zoning laws are different than building codes. Zoning laws, to me, fuck zoning.
Well,
laws.
I mean, I don't think that Tyler Cowen would say we should get rid of building codes. Like, I don't think that's what he's saying at all. That's saying that, like, get rid of zoning laws.
No, but what I'm saying is that if it's 4 times cheaper to build in Texas, there is a cost to that.
Well, we just got rid of CEQA. Gavin Newsom got rid of CEQA so that we no longer have to do environmental reviews basically at all if you're building a somewhat substantial project, which is huge.
Yeah.
That lowers the cost, that lowers the time, that makes it so that people can't sue willy-nilly over anything. Oh, I saw a bird in my backyard, I'm going to sue. You know what I mean? Like, so all of this, I think, is good, Devin. Like, I think that, like, your knee-jerk, you might have been in the Bay Area too. I might come back to Sacramento where we build shit here, and and we have regulations, believe me, but in my neighborhood, shit is going up all over the fucking place that I never saw in the Bay Area ever. My whole time, 9 years living there, I moved to Sacramento, and there's so much more. And it's because people are chill. People are so much more chill.
Yeah, but you think about this too. You're also, I mean, man, it's so multifactorial because you're also in a place where builders get paid a lot of money because it's recognized that it's a difficult, dangerous job. And in a lot of places where the culture is more aggressively masculine, those jobs are taken for granted and reduced to kind of like low to mid wage jobs and are not recognized for how dangerous or intense they are. But in California, man, like, we recognize that contractors, drywallers, laborers, that's a really difficult, high intensity, high stress, high demand job. And we pay those people really well. So it costs money to build stuff here. You know, it's like the zoning laws are indefensible. And the fact that middle class people are so terrified of working class and poor people really shows you where this country is at, where you've got a segment of society that's pulling away. and it is another representation of white flight, but it may not be so kind of didactically racial, but it is classist. You know, it's like all of this NIMBYism here is like, well, I don't want an apartment complex where people are going to be living a lifestyle that's a little messier because they don't have the fucking money to pay for it to look nice. You know what I'm saying? And it's like these two segments of society are going to have to join at some point because we're just running out of room in cities, you know, and it's not realistic for a working class poor person to find a job and own a home in a rural area in a lot of places now too, man. So there's a lot less places for people at the lowest rung of society to run to, honestly. And it's
I mean, there are plenty of cities in America where it's still very affordable. If you look at the housing market in Philadelphia, you can buy a 3-bedroom, a 2-bath, beautiful condo for like $400,000. That should be $2 million in San Francisco. So we've been in San Francisco or in California way too long. Like outside of California, outside of New York, society is way more sane, dude. I promise. I'm obsessed with housing prices and shit. So like, I think you have a little bit of California brain.
You're right and you're wrong, because if you go to those places, the wages are not high. So the prices of
but you can look at maps of where the cost of where it's good to live. And like it ain't California, dude. Like it's not New York. Like these are bad places to live where your income, no matter how much you make, it doesn't like help your lifestyle because housing is so expensive here. And we have fucked up in California so hard that we forget how badly we fucked up. People have great lives in Tennessee and Kentucky and
it's a
Florida and
here, Pete. It's a paradise.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. I get it. I get it why we fucked up.
Garden of Eden, man, in like incarnate. You feel me? That's still here, motherfucker.
That's why I live. No. I love California. I hate the NIMBY movement in California because the NIMBY movement hurts everybody. Used to, hey, I got news for you. Like, enclave people, you're gonna have to cozy up to the idea that you're gonna have to share your society with Black people and brown people and weirdos and poor people and all kinds of different segments of society. Like, you're just not going to be able to maintain the enclave culture that's been so carefully stewarded and maintained in American life for the last 60 years. That shit is over, dude. You're going to have to mix with the fucking general public now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So do we buy the Bay Area, or do we just keep it so that you can only build 3-story homes?
Yeah, I say hybrid version. You do what, you know, in California, you do what is actually mandate in a lot of places at large scale, at small scale, where, you know, if you're a major contractor that comes in to build a bunch of housing in an area in certain counties in California, you are required to build an equal amount of Section 8 housing as well within some, you know, radius of where you're building the, you know, middle class homes or the high-end homes. And like, that's just the way that it needs to stay until every single person in this country has a home. Like, every single fucking corporation can afford to have a loss leader that is benefiting the working class. Costco's got their $6 chicken still, man. You know, like, KB Homes got to keep cranking out that Section 8 housing until poor people all have a place to live, and it's not tenuous to be putting a roof over your head in this country. That's fucking pathetic for a country that is the wealthiest country on the face of the earth.
Well, it's interesting.
There should never be a housing problem here.
I mean, I totally agree. And like, look at this. So this is Miami Beach, right? There's no city in California that looks even remotely like this where they've built up on the coast like this, right? And most of the world that's coastal, if you look at Rio de Janeiro, if you look at like anywhere, they actually like built, and like, and if you look at like Malibu, let me pull up like Malibu, right? Look at this. Like, how many homes do you see here, Devin? This could be Miami Beach. And like, you can count them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, there's like 12 houses here, right? And like, you could put millions. There could be 10 million people who live right here. Instead, there's like 80, right? Like literally, like, you could easily fit like millions of people here, and there's like 80 people who live here. Like, this is what I'm personally talking about. This to me is like not even, I don't know. This could be, it's so like humanity has failed in California.
We could really use, we could really use a more collectivist mentality at this point in history, and we're gonna fucking need it soon. And I want to say this because I was talking with my partner about this yesterday, and like, you think about every generation before the boomers, and their kind of mandate in life was to make sure that their kids were set up a little bit better than they were. And I think that's the immigrant mentality to this day, and that was also the ethos of like, that's the whole idea of being a fucking grandparent. Like, that's the whole the conceptual framework of grandparenthood, right? Is that you're trying to nurture this next generation into reality. And the boomers really were the first generation, maybe in fucking human history, that was so nihilistically determined to hold on to every single thing they can possibly keep their little eyes and hands on until the day they fucking die. And what that does is it instead of seeding, you know, the wealth, seeding the property, seeding the you know, all of these things that they're holding on to so tightly, the view of the ocean to the next generation of people, they're like, not until the day that you can pry it from my cold dead hands. And the way that generations work, they're like 20 years apart. So that means that Gen X and millennials, everybody's waiting for these people to die so that they can enjoy this brief 20-year span of prosperity where the generation above them has been forced to hand things down through the icy fingers of death. And it's like, man, like, we've got to start taking better care of each other as a society. Like, the idea of a victory garden, right? Like the World War II idea of a victory garden is, I'm going to make a little bit of food for myself, because if I take a little bit of the strain onto myself of feeding myself, this is a collectivist movement, and that allows us to do this thing with, you know, defeat the Nazis, whatever. But my point is that there is actually precedent for the American society coming together in a collectivist mentality around.
See, I actually disagree a little. I think that I mean, I agree with that, the sentiment, but yeah. I don't think that like the generations pre-boomer, I don't think that they were good people. I don't think the boomers are bad people. No, I just think that like, because we were like, oh, it's good to have college administrators to make it so that we get more diverse populations, or so that we have safe rooms when someone has a hard time, or so we have this, or, oh, we need a crying room. All of a sudden, college, rather than costing $10,000 a year, now it's $80,000 a year. And it's literally, you've seen those charts, I'm sure, where it's like, here's like how many more professors we have. It's a straight line since like the 60s. Here's how many administrators we have since the 60s. And it's like, guess why college is expensive? Because we're paying for administrators. And it's the same with housing. Housing is expensive because we regulated the ability away to build housing. And we, you know, and the biggest mistake obviously was single family zoning. Get rid of that, but also get rid of a lot of these regulations that make it impossible to build. And these were, I don't think we can just like massively just blame the boomers. They're not bad people. No, this shit was good intentions, right? It was good intentions that led to more, not zoning laws. It wasn't good intentions. It was bad intentions for zoning laws, but it's good intentions for environmental regulations, good intentions for administrators in college. A lot of this was good intentions. And so we just, as the disgruntled millennials who have not inherited the wealth we should have, we need to go back and like take a very careful look with a scalpel. I think not the Doge thing where we're just like ruining shit. We need it with a scalpel, carve out like the college administrators we don't need, like to cut down the costs with the intention of that. And same with housing. Like, let's make a house so that, like, right now, China can build a fucking Tesla equivalent car and sell it in America for 10 grand. Since that would destroy our housing or our car market, we just don't allow them to sell them here. It's the same thing. Like, other parts of the world build shit like way more cheaply, way more cost effectively. And I don't know, like, maybe we should take a clue.
Nah, that's the one place where I'll just put my foot in the sand and say that, like, every regulation that makes things more difficult to do, other than zoning laws, is actually saving lives. And we're still not at the point yet where we understand how hazardous and how risky things are. And we have to continue to overhedge against, like, throwing the weight of a human life against a menial task. And I think, and let me just also say this, that zoning laws are unequivocally a reverberation of systemic racism. If you don't fucking believe that, you got to go and hit the books, because single family zoning laws, both on vibe check and historical just in historical fact. Like this stuff is all so
100%. I mean, like if they weren't just zone single family zoning, a lot of times they actually explicitly said in county ordinances that you have to like be a white person, like Christian, going to church 2 days a week to be able to buy one of these houses, and that was like in the fucking mortgages and shit. So and that's what it was so bad. Like I'm not like everything was bright and shiny. I can't talk anymore. Bright and sunny.
I'm
and
at 2%.
I know, man. I gotta jump here in a second. Well, I guess we were kind of circling the drain a little bit, but yes. Okay, California, fix yourself. Just do it right. All right, boomers retire.
We didn't even get to the nuclear saber rattling today. Hopefully, the world still exists for us by the time we get around to our next pod.
Yeah, Trump and like nuclear saber rattling. I had nightmares about this shit last night. So we'll come back and we'll pursue, if we are still here, we'll talk about it. But until then, everybody, I gotta bounce.
That was one of my favorite conversations I've had with you, Pete, and I wonder if it's from our intense sparring session before the pod.
Can I say something really quick before I leave? It's like I'm in my garage right now. It's got to be 100 degrees in here. I'm like fucking sweating, and I'm like way over caffeinated. So that maybe that's what I need, man, to get me riled up. I need a sauna and I need caffeine.
All right, Pete. It was good squawking with you today, bud.
All right, man. You too. All right, later.